Hey, y'all, welcome back to another exciting episode of Life on the Ave. Sticking with our theme here of Del-lebrities, so movers and shakers in Delaware, entrepreneurs, business owners, faces in the crowd. We have a beautiful face in the crowd today, Mr. John Cohill. Mr. John Cohill, thanks so much for coming on today.
Thank you, Vince. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to join the pod. I've listened to a bunch of them since you guys kind of started, and
Sweet.
Honored to be on here today.
Yeah. So John's a fan of the program, a fan of the GG, and a champion for Delaware overall. So we like starting off with giving people their flowers here a little bit. So the first flower that I'll give you is this whole operation takes a lot to go into it. You know, the talent up here, the back office, the logistics sort of deal. And my wife really wants to thank you for going ahead and writing your own script. So that is awesome. So kudos to you.
More for me, so I don't mess up at all. But it's always, we have a bunch to talk about, so I'm excited.
A ton to talk about. Yeah, so we'll hop right into it. So this is the segment where we like to give you your flowers. So, I gave you one there. Second one right here. So John Cohill, according to your LinkedIn, you are Deputy Director of Scheduling and Legislative Assistant for the Office of Delaware Governor John Carney. John Cohill is a dedicated public servant with a demonstrated history of civic engagement within state government and the nonprofit sector. You're detail-oriented with strong interpersonal communication and organizational planning skills. Shout out.
Thank you.
Yeah. And a highly motivated team leader who desires to continue promoting inclusivity and enact social change within the public, private, and nonprofit sectors. So a lot to unpack there, which we'll get into it. But prior to us hopping on here, we were talking about the time that we first met. So you want to tell your perspective from the time we first met? And I have a funny background.
I don't know what year it was. But
2020.
2020. During COVID. Yeah.
It was like May 2020.
So I was at the University of Delaware at the time, and I was employed at Taverna on Main Street through the Platinum Dining Group. Shout out the Platinum Dining Group. I was serving, and Chris Locke came in frequently for lunch, and Chris and I always talked about anything from mental health to university policy to the city of Newark, to like kind of what's going on day to day. And we just got to talking, and you were at the table, and we were just talking about the constant changes in terms of state policies, in terms of university policies as it relates to COVID-19 and what you can and cannot do. But I think we spent majority of the time talking, and no one ate, or I didn't even do my job serving. So sorry.
No, all good. So to add some background there, we got our start working in real estate for Lang Development Group out of Newark, Delaware. And COVID happened. The world kind of like shut down. Real estate got shut down. I just bought a building with Jeff earlier that year. And it's funny, Carl Giorgi was kind of involved in that as well too. So we can talk about that off camera. COVID happened. I wasn't allowed to like show houses. So Jeff said, hey, why don't you come back and work for me? So I was like, all right, sure. Like I got no better options. I was literally sitting there playing solitaire on my phone. Like I thought the world was ending. Solitaire and Roller Coaster Tycoon. And it was me and Connor, and our job was trash. And literally earlier that week, we got absolutely reamed out by Chris Locke at like 9 a.m. because we showed up at like 9:04 to a property, and he just like reamed us out. And then I went in and I told him, I was like, hey man, like I've been, working here till 9 to 5, and I do real estate stuff before and after. Like the world's kind of opening back up. Like this is my 2 weeks sort of deal. And he's
out.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry for you. I didn't even know you were doing, like, let's go out to lunch, right? Yeah, so we go out to lunch, and like nobody knew what was going on in the world.
Yeah.
And like this will segue into our next topic, but like we sit down at the table, and like you and Chris obviously had a relationship, and like Chris is the little mayor, and like it's like Game of Thrones. You got to have your little birdies around sort of deal. And I was like, all right, who is this guy that he's got Chris Locke's attention, not to just say what's up, but to sit and talk with us for an hour.
While I'm on the clock.
On the clock, right? Yeah, on the clock. And like no one's, like checking on you or anything and stuff. They were just like, hey, this is the exclusive table of the day. So I was like, I need to know this guy. I need to know this guy. And it's so funny. So getting into the first topic, we were just talking about drinking the Delaware Kool-Aid. Like when you hop in there and you meet someone, it's like kind of like the Jeep effect. If you buy a Jeep, all of a sudden all you see are Jeeps.
Yep.
So like literally, I brought Mary Kate on a date there. Like 2 weeks later, you are a bartender,
Yep.
sitting there, and then like just started seeing you around. Toot sold one of our friends' house, Evan, a house, right? And then you pop up like, hey, like I might rent this house with Evan, sort of deal. I'm like, here he is again. And I've just seen you, you know, running around, and we've just, you know, struck up a friendship. So I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
From Newark to Trolley, now we're here.
Now we're here. Yeah, but kind of hopping into it, like drinking that Delaware Kool-Aid. You are Mr. Delaware through and through. So this is what you wanted to say, how small Delaware is, that all your guests so far you've either known personally or have heard of them before the pod.
Yeah. So, and like thinking about things to talk about today, I was like, we have to talk about how small Delaware is. And the governor says all the time, like, it's so great. The good thing about Delaware is that it's so small, and the bad thing about Delaware is it's so small. So, but I've known personally many of the people you've had on the pod before, or I've known of them.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool to see like how interconnected Delaware is. And like while some people may have a specific niche in something, they're touching all over
100%.
different parts of Delaware. I mean, with Chris being economic development or development down in Newark, but also the mental health aspect, he's touching so many different lives. And that's what Delaware is, and that's how you can get things done.
Yes.
I mean, the president talks about it all the time, the Delaware way, and we just do things differently here, and it's a good thing.
Yes. Yeah. And going back to like the small thing, what I am very, very conscious of is like, hey, what are people saying about Vince Garman when I'm not in the room? And like, I want them to be saying, hey, Vince Garman's a good guy, number one, and then number two, he sells houses. And I think like the sentiment about John Cohill, like if your name ever comes up, it's John Cohill's the man. He's the boy. He's the boy. So, yeah. So we're huge fans of you. Yeah. So I guess we can kind of start there. So, you know, you got the Delaware resume. So grew up in Delaware, Salesianum.
Yes. So
University of Delaware.
Pike Creek kid, and then I went to Salesianum.
Where'd you go to grade school?
St. John the Beloved.
Oh, SJB.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The Dynasty.
Cool. Yes.
Go Eagles.
People ride hard for SJB.
Yeah. We don't mess around.
That's what I'm learning.
We don't mess around.
Shout out Charlie Mountain.
Yes.
Little Red.
And Clarkie.
Okay.
Yeah, so St. John the Beloved, and then Salesianum, and then University of Delaware. At Sally's, I was football, track, and field.
Sweet.
And then at University of Delaware, I did a lot more student government style stuff and kind of the inner workings of the city and the university. And then from there, I jumped straight into the state, and I worked for the state for the past 2 years and some change.
That's awesome. So, so working in government now, like, has that always been something on your radar? Like, when did this, like, you know?
Yeah, I think
come about?
my biggest thing that I like to do is that whatever environment that I'm in, I'm fully in it and fully engrossed in it. So at the University of Delaware, like I wanted
That's the Delaware way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to know what was going on. Why are things happening? Who's in the room making decisions? Why am I not in the room making decisions? Why are students in the room making the decisions? So at the University of Delaware, I was in student government. I needed to know what things were happening, why policies were being made, and just kind of like inspired me to, well, what are we doing at the state level?
Yeah.
Who's making decisions? Why are they making decisions? And I think everyone always talks about like the federal government and all the decisions being made there. Most decisions happen at the state level, and all of like day-to-day things are state level policy making decisions and local. So understanding that, like, you're going to have a bigger impact and have a bigger understanding of what's going on at the state level. So I graduated from University of Delaware a little bit early, and I jumped right into the governor's office the end of COVID, and I've been there for 2 years and some change. But it's always something that I've been interested in, and selfishly, it's knowing what's happening and why. And how can we make those decisions better? And knowing that, like, you can make a decision, but there's many other pieces and it affects a lot of other people. So knowing that and the ripple effect of any decision, it seems like a yes or no answer on the surface, but there's so much more.
So much. Yeah. There's so much that goes into it. So, so SJB, Sally's, you mentioned you played football. What was a football career like?
It was good. It was short. I was a D-end and guard. I was a little bit more bigger back in the day, slimmed down a little bit, but I loved it. I played under Coach Gennardo, looked up to him a lot, and we weren't the best team during the 2018 when I graduated, but we were close. We were a good group of kids.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. Were you involved in any government at Sally's or anything?
I was student council at Sally's.
Nice. Nice. Were you El Pres then or
was
what?
not.
Okay. Gotcha. All good. All good. Yeah. So fast forward, you get to Delaware. I'm just curious, when did you like join student council and like what was your role? You were president,
Yeah. So
right? How did that whole process like even work?
it's like an election style.
Yeah.
So I started my freshman year in Student Government Association, and then I worked my way up where I served as executive vice president for 2 years at UD in student government. And during that time, there's a lot of transitions and changes and what kind of things we were in charge of. But then the majority of things were COVID related policies, and sitting on those Zoom meetings all the time and making those decisions on behalf of the students was like majority of my time, my junior and senior year. So that's kind of where I got into it, student government there.
Sweet. And like that was huge because like I'm sure, some people can go through, student government, whatever sort of deal and have it just be like, a normal 4 years, right? Like University of Delaware, it was wild. Just colleges across the country, like they're like, hey, like no in-person classes.
Yeah, you transition on March 13th to nothing, and then you have to adapt to online courses and where people can live, they can't live, distancing, and then when we come back, parties, lack thereof. And then also I worked in the restaurant industry, so I lost my job.
Nice.
So adapting to that,
Platinum laid everybody off.
Like, we all lost our job. I mean, there was some takeout, but it wasn't sustainable. So for Platinum to lay everyone off was the right decision at the time, I believe. But like all those transitions and changes all happened all at once, and you had to like kind of just go with the flow and adapt.
Yeah. So that was like a wild time. So like, did you feel that the students like had a voice? Like not to like harp on COVID and like
I'm triggered now. Thanks.
Yeah. What's that?
I said I'm triggered now. Thanks. You got me sweating with COVID. Yes and no. I think a lot of decisions were made outside the students' purview and perspective. While yes, I was in some of these meetings. Like, was my voice being heard? Maybe not. But then again, like no one knew what the right decision was at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we all faulted. The university faulted on decisions. Cities, state. Like we've all made decisions that weren't the best at the time. In hindsight, it's 2020 at this point.
Correct. So enough about COVID. Anything else you want to touch on? Delaware student government wise, UD wise, sort of deal. Yeah. Anything you're most proud of as class president of University of Delaware?
I was VP.
VP.
I think. The one good thing through COVID is that we put ourselves in those conversations in those rooms that we might not necessarily been in prior to COVID. And that presence has kind of lingered till today. And you can see that student government leaders now have the opportunity to sit in board of trustees meetings, have a voice. So I think growing the student voice is kind of one positive aspect.
It's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, we appreciate all the effort, and Chris Locke definitely appreciated all the insider info. Because like those guys, like it was that's their lifeline.
Yeah,
it's
so
literally their lifeline.
Back to when we met, like the whole conversation that Chris and Vince were talking about is they weren't in these conversations or in the rooms when these decisions were being made. Were they allowing students to come back to campus? Were they allowed students to come back to off-campus housing, which really affected Lang development group? So. When those decisions were being made and looping them in at the right time was really appreciative for Chris.
Sweet.
And he was trying to open Sean's house.
Yeah, Sean's house, hotel. Like there was a ton of stuff that they had going on. Yeah. That's awesome. So fast forward. So how did the state come about? Like, did you apply to like other places or like?
I wanted to touch on this later in the pod, but the Delaware way, like I got my job through someone that was in student government at UD.
Sweet.
So full circle.
Not about what you know.
It's who you know. I was about to say. Stole my quote.
Yes.
So my colleague, who I still work with in the governor's office, she said, "There's a position opening in the governor's office. Could you share this with your network?" And I said, "Happy to share it with the network, but I would like to put my name in first, and then I'll share it." I did not share it, and ultimately went through the interview process and got onboarded in 2021. Towards the tail end of COVID as we were transitioning back into in-person events and more travel for the governor.
Sweet. So did you apply anywhere else? Like,
I did not.
yeah. So the Delaware way.
The Delaware way.
Full
Straight.
bore into it. Full bore into it. So you get accepted there, working for the governor. Like, what does that like first day look like? Like, what's like an onboarding process of like, hey, here we are. Like, you just hopping right into it, like shadowing somebody.
Yeah. So I joined during the tail end of COVID. So like some people were still working from home, and then onboarding into the office, into our Wilmington office, and then just slowly meeting the team and getting to know everyone, and slowly establishing like what my role is.
Yeah.
What am I there to do, and then grow in my current role today.
Sweet. Yeah. So like, what would you initially start out doing?
I did correspondence management, which is essentially like any written
Press release, like sort
no,
of?
more like formal tributes.
Okay.
And proclamations, like declaring May as Mental Health Awareness Month. So
Sweet.
gathering the statistics behind that, and then tributes for like anniversaries or celebrations or ribbon cuttings and those things. So assisting in writing those.
Love that. And then you worked your way all the way up to the right-hand man.
Yeah. So
How'd you climb that corporate ladder? Yeah.
yeah. So I currently serve as the Deputy Director of Scheduling, and then I do a little bit of policy work with the legislative side of things. But yeah, the right hand. So if anyone has seen Veep, I'm essentially Gary, where I travel with the governor or assist the team in whatever information he needs, so day-to-day basis.
Love that. And I've seen you at a bunch of events. I think you always like looking out and seeing a face in the crowd.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really
as
cool.
well too. Like especially down in like Seaford, it's like, yo, what are you doing?
What are you doing
I'm like, I'm in. It's my first time in Seaford too. Yeah, I had to come see this. So working for him, I feel like it's just like it's just wild. Like I know my schedule is like booked out now, and it hasn't always been like that, but now it is, and like I don't see it like stopping anytime soon. Like, what does like a governor's like schedule like look like?
It's a lot. I think it changes, but I think the overarching goal is aligning the schedule with whatever principle, mine would be the governor's priorities are. So what is his priorities? Like aligning them up to what are we doing on a daily basis that align with the governor's priorities? And if they don't align, we shouldn't be doing it, essentially.
Yeah. So you were like the gatekeeper sort of deal? Like
there's a few of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And then like while you're there, you like kind of keeping them on schedule.
I'm the clock
like,
guy. Yeah.
Yeah. The clock guy. Like, hey,
Yeah, we got a 5-minute warning. Yeah. We got a 2-minute warning.
Yep. I love that. Anything you're most proud of working for a governor, working for the state?
I really enjoy working in the state. I think you get a different perspective of the needs of Delawareans.
Yeah.
And again, we live in a bubble.
Yes.
We live I myself live a very privileged life. So
Correct.
I'm opening my eyes to what are the actual needs of average everyday Delawareans and how do we best assist those? Because I think those aren't the ones that we see in the headlines. It's what I call privilege problems that go to the front. It's, so what are we doing for everyday Delawareans? Do we have quality education? Do people have a place to live?
Internet access.
Broadband access. Are we focusing in all parts of the state, not just up here in Newcastle County or in the city of Wilmington, but making sure that we're impacting everyone's life in a positive manner.
Love that. And like that's the thing, like a lot of people don't necessarily, I guess, like understand about Delaware is like, yes, it is a smaller state, but like the state as a whole is super diverse.
Yeah, I think Delaware is a microcosm of the United States, essentially. Like every aspect of the United States, farmland, rural, cities, we all have it in Delaware. Beaches. So let's look at Delaware as like, how do we reach every single person?
Yes.
Like everyone has a different lifestyle and the way that they live and different life perspective, but we still need to be like reaching them and assisting them where they need.
Correct. Yeah. And I'm sure you've traveled.
Yeah, I've been to different parts of Delaware that I didn't know existed, which is insane. Which is really, really cool.
Drop a couple. Yeah. What were you surprised at?
Gunborough.
Where's that at?
It's like,
I've never even heard of it.
It's western Sussex.
Okay.
I've been down to Laurel, Camden, Delaware, just like places you would never know existed.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. Like what I tell people is like, hey, like you know, it's Newcastle County, which is, you know, a nice little city, and then like suburbia. And then like when you're down south, you're like, where am I?
Yeah.
Sort of deal. Like, am I in Kansas? Like it's all flat.
Yep.
Like, am I in like farmland in like Nebraska or something?
It's
Like,
pretty
what
cool.
is going on? And then you get to the beaches and you're like, this is beautiful
Yeah.
over here. Like, holy smokes. And you can get anywhere basically in 45 minutes to an hour.
which is really cool. And
how many miles you put on that car?
a lot on mine, but I usually travel with him, which is helpful.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, the really good thing and bad thing about Delaware is that it's so small. So people expect you to be at everything. And comparing with colleagues in other different states, like they can easily decline events, fundraisers and things because it's 4 hours away. But you can have an event in Wilmington in the morning and you have an event in Sussex County in the evening. So like people
and
expect
then go
you to
back
be there.
to Wilmington
and go back
for
to
an evening event. Yeah, that could definitely happen. What's it like just like being so close to like an elected official? Like obviously like it's like, hey, like, you know, this person is, you know, of high status sort of deal. But like when you're just in the car with them, like what's the governor like? Like what do you guys throw on? What do you guys listen to?
It's pretty awesome. I think like getting in the mindset of someone that has to deal with issues on different issues from A to Z on a daily basis, and like how much information is kind of thrown at the principal, like it's a lot. So like and having to be on. I think you talked about this with Chris, but having to be on all the time.
Yes.
And you do it in real estate. Like someone walks in, you have to be on. If you have a bad day, you still have to be on.
Correct.
If something bad had happened in your life, you still have to be on. And that's him every single day. And for the people that are with him, so the people that are staffing him or on his team, like you also have to be on. You have to be present, attentive, listening. And that's hard. And I don't think a lot of people see that. So being with him is like getting in the mindset of like, well, what does he need on a daily basis so he can be on when he's with those people. And when he's off, we're off. We're shutting down for a little bit.
Nice.
We're regrouping for the next
That's
event.
good. That's good. Does he have an email?
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha. I'm just curious. Yeah, because like I'm like so readily accessible, and like maybe this is something we can talk about. You got 2 phones.
I do have a work phone and a personal phone.
I've contemplated the 2 phone thing. How's it work out?
I
for
recommend
you?
it. Yeah. I keep my personal phone on Do Not Disturb during work hours, and my phone on ringer. Just you have to be available.
Yeah.
It also like gets you in the mindset of like separating. I think you talk about work-life balance a lot. So how do we separate work-life balance? Don't put them on the same device.
Yes.
So, and if they're a different color, like, you know, that like when I pick this up, it's going to be work related, or when I pick this up, it's going to be like personal.
How many phones does the governor got?
2.
2. Nice. That's hilarious. Anything else you want to touch on state-wise? You do have one thing in here. Maybe I'll steal your thunder, but guys, if you are of voting age, please get out and vote.
Yes. I think we're at a pivotal time in history. I think here in Delaware, there's gonna be a lot of changes coming up. A lot of people are termed out. So there's primaries coming up in September for local primaries. We don't have a presidential primary here in Delaware.
Okay.
But there's primaries for your respective party.
And that's like what kind of decides it in Delaware.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are, yes. So I think primaries are very, very important. And then you have your general election in November, which is also a very, very big deal. But there will be, the general election will be, I mean, the president, but there's also a lot of local things that I encourage people to vote. And if you don't know who your statewide elected officials are, do that.
Yes.
And look into them. They have a lot of say and power in the state. So know who the people that you're voting for. And if you don't, reach out to me and I'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Yeah, so we were mentioning getting termed out. So unfortunately, it looks like you're going to be looking for a job here soon.
Are you hiring?
Oh, dude. What color is that hair? What color is your hair?
You have a quota to meet, right?
Yeah. If it's red, you're hired at the GG. So yeah, 100%. You would crush it in real estate. Dude. Yeah, you would do amazing.
So some people find it nerve-wracking. I find it very intriguing that my job essentially ends and I have to do something different. Whether that be continue in state government, which would be great, or finding something that's more niche and something that I'm very interested in, whether it be nonprofit work or private sector work or staying with state government. So I'm excited. I haven't looked that much in the future yet, but I mean, your network is your net worth. So
100%.
making sure you're doing those coffees, interacting with people, and
Definitely.
telling people what you're interested in.
Yeah. You think we get the governor to stop out to one of our events or what?
We can try.
Word. Yeah, we'll try it out. We'll try it out. But hey, if anybody's out there hiring in economic development, I got a guy for you right here.
Thank you.
He would be fantastic. Last couple things about the state. So governor's getting termed out, right? How long has he been the governor here?
It's like 7 years and some change.
Okay,
so it's
cool.
Two
4-year terms. Okay, cool.
Which is different in every state.
Yep. Yeah. And I think, you kind of see the theme, like Mary Kate and I are both 31. Everybody else in this office is in their 20s. And we do our best to be involved in the community as well.
And you're doing a great job at it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So yeah. Anything else, upcoming election, anything like that? Like, do you have anything do you guys just done and then you pack up your bags? Like,
So there's transition stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So cool. So definitely, you have a decorated resume there. So getting into John Cohill, the person. So one of my favorite things we were talking before we started here, Gratitude Monday.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell the people what
Yeah,
Gratitude
so,
Monday is, where they can find it.
So
how they can get involved and spreading a little positivity.
I was
and gratitude in the world.
taking a course at the University of Delaware. I forget which course it was, but it was like do something like that brings like a little bit of joy to your life and others, but like on a consistent basis. Not every day, but like something that like starts a habit.
Yes.
And I was like, all right, let me try this out. And everyone's Monday is always a little gloomy, right? Like it's a Monday.
Yeah.
You're getting back to work, and
if you go to University of Delaware, it's going to rain on
it's
Tuesday.
gonna rain on Tuesday.
It's going to rain on Tuesday.
So
Monday stinks.
I started Gratitude Monday, which I share on Instagram on my story. Essentially, it's the question box of like share something or someone that you're grateful for, and it was both self-reflecting and like making myself get in the mindset of like, what am I actually grateful for today?
Yeah.
And why? But also like encouraging other people to be grateful. Like you're in the mindset of the Mondays and like, but you have a lot of things to be grateful. You woke up.
100%.
You have people in the life that care about you.
Roof over your head.
You have a roof over your head. You're eating.
You ate
have
a
a
meal
job.
in the last 24 hours.
So, and it was an opportunity to share like cool pictures that I took the week before or throughout what I did. So I share that. And a lot of people ask, like, do people respond? And I'm like, yes, people respond.
I respond.
Yes, you respond. A bunch of people respond. And they tell me what they're grateful for. And some of it's like funny or personal between the two of us. But also it's like people that are like, I don't know, or like sharing like, I'm grateful for my mom today. I'm grateful for my aunt. I'm grateful for the ability to go for a run.
Yes.
Like to walk. Like, so it like gives perspective of like, people are grateful and I think people should do it. So, next Monday, whenever this airs, the next Monday, I would like more people to participate in Gratitude Monday.
100%. Yeah, we will drop this on Monday, or like whenever the Monday that we drop it, and we'll throw it up there as well too. But yeah, that's one thing that has really just kind of like changed my mentality as well too. Is I've been super reconnected with my faith and just like gratitudes. In general. So for the past 5 years, like off and on, I've been writing down, hey, 10 things I'm grateful for. So I've gone through like 4 or 5 gratitude journals just right now.
That's awesome.
10 things that I'm grateful for. And that's how I start my day. And it just really does put it in perspective.
Yeah, there's so much to be grateful for.
Yeah.
And I do this when I pray. There's the 5 F's that I'm grateful for always: my faith, my family, my friends, my fitness and health, and my financial finances.
Yeah.
So that covers a lot of bases. So
all of them.
Those are my 5 F's. Yeah. So that's like something that I'm grateful for every single day.
Yeah. And like just doing that, going back into like the prayer thing, one thing that I've been doing this year, I've switched it up a little bit. On the left side of the page, I have my gratitudes, and on the right side, I have my prayer list. So like people that I have special intentions for. And like I've been seeing, the Trust God Bro Instagram page, whatever, and like one of their posts sort of deal is just like, hey, pray. And not only like the one like Instagram thing was like, hey, like instead of like complaining about your spouse to someone, complaining about your coworkers to someone, go ahead and pray for them. So when you complain, it like hardens your heart. When you pray for them, it like softens your heart. So all my haters out there, which there are many, You have some too, probably, right? Yeah, there's some people out there. I pray for all my haters, and I'm like, hey, like, I'm praying for you. And like, I tell people all the time now, like, if they like ever can't come to something, hey, you're in my prayers, right? And it's just like, it's a nice little touch.
That's great.
I think,
Yeah, I think when it also puts you back in perspective. Like,
yeah,
there's so much to be thankful for. There's a lot of things that we need to pray for too.
yeah. And if you threw all your problems out there and they threw all their problems out there, I grab my problems back
As fast as possible.
so fast.
Yep.
Yeah, so fast. And then like with that, the barometer of success that I have for our events, our stuff sort of deal is just like the power of one. So I tell everybody, I'm like, hey, when we run an event, like, of course I invite a ton of people. It's always open to the public. Like whoever wants to come can come. But if one person shows up, that's success for me. And I always invite my mom. She shows up a lot.
Shout out my mom as well.
Yeah, shout out mom. We love our moms. And like with the gratitude thing, I throw up, questions and stuff on my Instagram all the time, and people do ask.
They do respond. They do ask, yeah.
Yeah, they're asked. They're like, do people respond to you? And I'm like, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like the impact of having a completely random person
it's awesome.
reach out to me. So my one, not necessarily random, we now know each other, but Delaware once again, we'll give a little shout out to Cafe Karma, Miss Kelly Ashton. And she's like, hey, like I just have this like internal conflict. Like I want to take my business to the next level. I'm like, yo, there's people out there who support you. Like we are going to support you in this. And she's like, yeah, I use it in terms of like helping people put it in food so that way they can, live a better life, like not be taking, all these different kind of pills and stuff like that. And I'm like, girl, like there's a community out there for you. Like you're already doing it. Like if you want to go all in, like I got you.
Yeah.
Right. And like that's someone who I literally met at Karma, like just in passing. She's there at our Coffee Connections. We just did a photo shoot, a commercial shoot at Karma. Saw her there again. And like she was the one person who slid in my DMs for that wrist thing. And I'm like, if I can just affect that one
take
person.
Take that risk to ask for help or connect with them. Yeah. It's
that like
so
butterfly spider web effect of like, okay, cool. Now she's going to go out there and be a bright light in the community for her community. There's definitely a niche in there for her and she's going to figure it out. And like it's just crazy. Like I'm sure people come to you, and like with the stuff because you are involved a lot with SL24 and a lot of other, awesome things going on. And it's just like, yeah, like I'm here sort of deal.
Yeah. It's cool because again, everyone is connected here.
100%.
And like you can have an impact and you connect with someone that just needs to find that one more connection to kind of make it all full circle.
100%. Yeah. So going back to one of the F's that you talked about, so health and well-being, that fitness.
Yes.
That fitness F. So we'll give you flowers once again.
Thank you.
Have recently completed a 75 hard.
I did.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know what 75 hard is, drop it.
75 hard is essentially a challenge. I think it's more recent. So it's 75 days.
Who's the guy? Andy Frizz or something?
I think so.
Yeah, Andy Frizzano.
He's a character.
Yeah.
But it's 75 days. It's 2 workouts a day.
Andy Frisella, I think his name is. Yeah.
2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each. One of them has to be outside. Read 10 pages of a self-help book. A diet of your choice, a gallon of water, and no alcohol.
Yep.
So I did that. This was be my second round. So I did it at the beginning of 2023, and then I did it January 1 of 2024, and I wrapped up right around St. Patrick's Day.
Sweet. Did you party St. Patrick's Day?
I don't drink anyway. So
okay, all good. Yeah.
No, I did have a cheeseburger and French fries.
Nice, there it is.
But it's more mentally tough than anything.
Yes.
The physical stuff is difficult, but it's like a mental challenge to get yourself up before or after work to get your both workouts in. So I usually do Orange Theory. Shout out Orange Theory Tallyville. And then
People love Orange Theory.
Yes,
how many splat points do you have in your career?
I have a lot. But I'm relatively new to the Orange Theory group. Some people say cult, but
it's most definitely a cult. All the gyms here in Delaware are cults.
100%.
Yes, they ride so hard.
Do Orange Theory daily, and then I did a 45-minute walk or run. And somebody was like, "That's not a workout. It's a workout. 45-minute walk is a workout."
Dude, you're booking it past my house a lot. So
yes, and I see you on my walks and runs. So it was great. I think I got through 4 or 5 books, all self-help books, which are great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and they're so helpful, which I saw a lot on your bookshelf, actually.
Yeah. Any books you want to shout out? That's the Vince Garman Library, by the way. So if you ever want to check out, we'll give a shout out to our first Vince Garman Library card holder is Mr. Brandon Tutzelo. Yeah, so shout out B Toots. But yeah, the library is open and available. So yeah. So what books did you read?
I read Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins.
Carry the Boats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the orange one?
The Mark Manson one.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
subtle art of not giving a fuck. Yeah. You can curse on this podcast, by the way. Yeah.
Which I really liked, and it's
that was a game changer for
it
me.
was because it's not telling you to not care. It's telling you to prioritize the things that you care about.
Correct.
And if we care about everything, we care about nothing.
Yes.
So
100%.
Prioritizing things you care about, and kind of going through life like letting things go that aren't in your control. Mm-hmm. It was great.
Yeah. Phenomenal book. Anything else that you're reading right now? Have you kept up these habits?
Yeah. So I still work out daily. I'm reading not as much as I should be, but and I do drink a gallon of water a day. That's very helpful.
Nice.
But I'm have a half marathon coming up, so I'm excited about that.
Nice. Where at?
It's at the beach. It's called the Coastal Half, I believe. It's the 14th, so next Sunday. I'm really excited about that. It'll be my first half.
Yeah.
I heard you're getting into running.
You, sir. Yeah, you're hilarious. Yeah, I am doing my best. So I was a sprinter back in the day. I was fast. My nickname when I was little growing up playing baseball was Wheels. Yeah, come on, Wheels, right? Yeah, I was always fast. But yeah, Trolley Tap House Beer Runners, which you attend sometimes. Yeah, you've been there a couple times.
Not been.
No?
I'm going to go this Tuesday, I believe.
Sweet.
Hold me to it.
Yeah.
I'll be there. It's a good group of people, and I think it's important. We talked about this earlier. I wanted to mention the importance of community, and that is a community.
Huge.
So I'm excited to join them. It was cold when they were doing it, and I was usually at work.
Yeah.
Or Orange Theory. So, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get there. Good group of people.
Nice. Yeah. And like the big thing that like we talk about this all the time is just that like discipline. And especially like with the workouts, because it's just like, and then once you're into it, 5 minutes in, you're like,
all right, I'm here. I have to do it. Yeah.
Correct.
That was me this morning. I set my alarms and I was like, I'm not doing it. And then I was like, you got to do it. So I went to the gym.
100%. Yeah. Orange Theory.
Orange Theory, 6:15.
Nice. Love it. Yeah. What is Orange Theory? Like, what do you do? You can't even explain it.
You got to go.
Yeah.
You can come with me.
You get guest passes?
Yeah, I'll take you.
Word. Yeah, I'll go. And then Orange Theory Tallyville pops off. There's another one, Christiana. You ever go to that one? Or like, how's the Orange Theory work?
Yeah, so there's a bunch throughout the state. There's one in Pike Creek. There's one in Newark. There's one in Tallyville. There's one in Dover.
You get access to all of them?
Depending on your
membership level or something? Yeah.
So sometimes when I'm working in Dover, I'll go there afterwards.
Sweet. Yeah, but definitely hold me to that, dude.
Yeah, I'll take you 100%.
We're going to pull up the calendar right now. Yeah, because we're going to see what do we got going on Tuesday. Tuesday, I'm in for Tap House Beer Runners. So right, Tuesday the 9th. Yep, that's going on the calendar. I'm going to text you right now.
6:30.
Yep, Tuesday the 9th. Tap House.
We'll be there.
Beer Runners. Sweet. And then after that, we'll plan our Orange Theory date.
Perfect.
Love that.
I think they just switched it up. It used to be the same.
For Tap House?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do like a different route.
They did Rockford Park, and now they're doing, I think, the Brandywine Loop.
Nice.
Brandywine Park.
Yeah, good for them. Yeah, huge on that. Anything else you want to touch on, like community-wise?
Yeah. The sense of community is really, really important. I think we talk about, transitions in life from college to starting a job or creating a group here like this, or a reality group. I think when we go through transitions, the thing that we struggle with the most is finding a community or rebuilding a community or joining a new community, and the importance of a community. So when you start a new job, you're changing environments, or you're going to a new school. Like there's that sense of anxiety and the importance of community, the importance that community plays in like kind of easing that. So
yes.
I think for me, like in transitioning from not drinking, you lose a group, like you don't go out as much. So like where do you build those sense of communities again? There's communities at the gym. There's Orange Theory community. There's communities at church. So finding that community, there's running groups.
There's people with mustaches group.
People's mustaches group. You're not invited yet.
Here, I'll show you a picture. So this is your boy literally 4 years ago. Should I bring it back?
No.
The Fu Manchu?
Please don't.
The Fu Manchu. I sent that to the team. Yeah.
So
my wife would murder me if I get a mustache. I tease her every once in a while. I'll come out. She's like, take it off.
Take it off. The importance of like finding a group of people that like have shared interests is really, really important.
Love that. Yeah. And it's like one of those things like you talked about. It's totally your call if you want to talk about it. So not drinking, personal decision. Like
I didn't have like any issues. It was just like I woke up one day and I was like, this doesn't feel good. Like doesn't feel good sometimes. Yeah. And I don't have like anything against people that do drink, and I've gotten to the point where I can go out socially and it's totally fine. But it's like I don't like it. I don't like how I feel. So it's like one day I was like, all right, let me just try it was November of like a couple of years ago. So I was like, let me just try to the end of the year. And I was like, yeah, I can make it to the end of the year. And I made it through Christmas festivities and the holidays. And then I was like, all right, we'll do dry January for a month. Like everyone's doing it. And then I was like, you know what? Let's do this.
I feel so much better.
And then like that kind of inspired my health kick and like just being more.
How big were you?
I was pushing 270.
Okay, gotcha. So what are you now? You're probably like 190?
198, 200. Gotcha. So, but that like fluctuated throughout school. And like, you
were a lineman.
Yeah, I was a lineman. And then I used to bartend. So it's like,
you're just in that
you're learning. And like once you leave, you go to the bar across the street.
Yeah.
I was saying, like, ever since I left the restaurant industry, my steps have just been having to get on it.
Yeah. So
Pat wants to get a stand-up desk. Like we all have.
Do it.
Yeah.
So you leave the restaurant industry and you're not going out with your coworkers afterwards, and it's like, I'm good. Like I don't want to feel that way.
Wake up
again.
with no hangover.
Yeah.
And like with me, like I am pretty much like Cali sober. So the only thing I drink are Surfsides. Like beer, it sits in my belly. I'm like, ugh, vodka. I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm a lightweight. I take 2 of those, I'm trashed, right? Yeah. Tequila, I'll pass. Bourbon, ugh. Like
it feels good.
It tastes terrible.
Like I'll encourage it to anyone, but I'm not pushing it on anyone either. So if you're teasing with the idea of stopping, try it out.
Love it. Yeah. So a couple other things. So a few of the communities, we've been shouting them out, but some shout outs that you would like to incorporate. You named 3 here. We've kind of hinted.
Yeah, we've hit on all 3 of them. I'm a huge mental health advocate. I think for the longest time, I was such a external mental health advocate where I'm like, everyone needs to go find help or reach out if you need anything. Like I'm here for you. But then it's like, what are you doing for yourself? So 2 years ago, I picked up therapy for the first time, and I actually have therapy later today. So I encourage people to find someone, whether it be family member, friend, or a licensed professional to talk to talk through your things. I think mental health is so important. I think youth mental health is so important.
Huge.
I talk about transitions, and like we go through a lot of transitions, and the world is a messed up place sometimes. So like any way that we can be better towards ourselves and towards each other, I think we should. So I want to give a huge shout out to Unlock the Light Foundation and Sean's House. I think they're doing amazing work. I think they're setting the standard for what that is, to peer support is.
Huge.
Sometimes it's hard. Like some people don't want to talk to a professional, but they will talk to a friend. They will talk to someone their age. They will talk to someone that has been through the same thing that they've been through and is willing to share. So I do want to shout out that foundation and their leadership.
It's huge. It's huge. Yeah. I've been seeing a life coach off and on since 2019, Tracy Craig, and she absolutely like saved my life.
Yeah.
Like and just like literally leaving there, like, you know, I see her for like an hour or so, and like leaving there
lighter.
Like,
yeah. Sometimes there's 2 ways you can leave therapy: lighter, or with what I call a therapy hangover. It's like when you just like, oh, that was like you got to the nitty gritty of things, and you're like, you dumped, and you're like, oh, I can feel this in my head, and I feel it's off your chest, but it's like out there now.
Yeah.
So
like I need to take a nap.
Yeah, I need to take a nap. Yeah.
100%. And then other one, we hinted at it. So you had a nice little career at Platinum Dining.
I did. I worked at Taverna on Main Street. I think the best of the Platinum Dining Group restaurants, because I worked there.
I would agree.
I think they're doing great work. I I think everyone and anyone should have to and should work in
Yes.
retail or restaurant industry. I think you get a different perspective of people
Yes.
and how to best interact with people.
100%.
And that's where you build network too. I had a bar, I had bar guests, I had regulars, I had people that
You never know who's going to sit down.
You never know. And it's important.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a huge thing. Like it's something I never did. I was always like playing sports or like doing, whatever else sort of deal. But Mary Kate did, and like I tell this story all the time. She worked at Klondike Kate's. I called her the heart of Main Street. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Klondike Kate herself, pretty much. And like her test to become a server at Klondike Kate's was, she said, harder than any test that she had at UD.
Yeah, some people disrespect the industry. It shouldn't be disrespected.
Yeah.
People work really hard.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll give a stern warning to all the football players who come into nacho night at Klondike Kate's. You got to tip your servers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll back that.
Yeah.
Anyone and everyone, you need to tip your servers.
100%. 100%. And then the other one, Orange Theory, Tallyville. So that gym community is just like super hard.
Legit, yeah.
Yeah. Like I talk about it all the time. Mary Kate and I went to Black Ops. I have sold 20 houses out of Black Ops.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a networking community.
And it's still happening. I haven't been to Black Ops in 3 years.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You got to go back now.
I need to. Yeah. I need to.
Yeah. I think Orange Theory came at a time where I was looking for a community to grow into. And it's a community that like pushes you, encourages you, and it's the age range is everywhere.
Yeah, I love that. And then like the thing with like the fitness gyms here is like there's so many that like if you ever get tired of Orange Theory, you can go to kickboxing.
Yeah,
you can go
switch
somewhere else.
You can go to the running group.
Yeah, running group. You can go do jiu-jitsu. There's so many other things there. So anything else you want to touch on about community?
Just its importance. I think
It's huge.
Yeah, I think it's really important.
Hugely. Yeah, you got to find your tribe sort of deal. And if
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you're in a place where, hey, I'm not fitting in here sort of deal, like if you remove that from your life, God, the higher power, someone else is going to put something in there.
Yeah, I think like we all grow. Like, I mean, if you're not growing,
you're dying.
Yeah.
Literally.
So growing into different groups is good. Cool. I encourage it.
Love it. So last couple things here. So finishing up, name of the podcast is Life on the Ave. You are a resident of the area. If you would like to buy, we do have 19806 hats for sale for $20. So that's a little plug. Pat, throw the hat logo right in there. But so trolley talk. So number one, what do you like about living here? Grew up, Yeah,
I grew up
Pike Creek boy.
Pike Creek, a little out. I moved to Trolley 2 years ago.
Where'd you live in Newark?
I lived right on Main Street.
Nice.
Above the old Dairy Queen.
I don't even know where that's at. Yeah.
Next to Peach Blossom.
I haven't been to Peach Blossom. Have
Shout
you
out
been?
Peach Blossom. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I have a date on the calendar with Mr. and Mrs. Tutzelo.
There we go.
Down there.
It's
so,
great.
Me and Mary
Yeah,
Kate.
so I lived down in Newark and then moved to Trolley. I live on Clayton Street. But it's great. I think the community is great. The location's great. It's close to downtown city. It's close to all the food options here. And it's an easy to get on 95 too.
It's beautiful. Yeah. So favorite, so 3 favorites coming at you. So number 1, favorite restaurant that you like to support?
Oyster House.
TSOH. We love TSOH.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your order at Oyster House? What's your go-to?
Ooh. I think I switch it up, but peanut butter pie.
I just crushed one the other week. Oh, it was phenomenal.
So good.
Yeah, got it to go. I ate it.
Perfect. Yep, perfect.
It was amazing. Mary Kate was like, "Did you eat that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I
whole
crushed
thing.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing."
Yep.
She's like, "I was going to eat it the next day." I'm like, "Oh, sorry,
Nope.
babe. Yeah,
Get you a new one.
Yeah, throw it out." So favorite business you like to support?
Ooh. It's not in Trolley, but the Delaware Running Company.
Nice. Yeah. The one right out here in Greenville?
Yep.
Nice. Yeah. I was talking about my fitness and health journey. I had a back injury, and 10 years ago I had surgery and it flared up, and I went to my chiropractor. I'm a big believer in chiropractic health. And my chiropractor was like, "Dude, these are the shoes you're wearing?" I was like, "Bro, they're $20 from Amazon. Of course, they're great." And he's like, No. Yeah. So I too am a fan of Delaware Running Company. Bought a nice pair of Brooks running shoes.
There you go. Yeah,
it's
that's what I run.
Put them to use. Yeah.
That's what I run.
Yeah. You'll see them on Tuesday.
Good.
You'll see them on Tuesday. Huge fan of that. Also, we just got a Peloton. I went to Trek Bike on 202 the other day. So shout out Trek Bike. That place was unbelievable.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, awesome there. So that's cool. And then you've been to a ton over the last couple of years. Favorite event in Delaware? It doesn't necessarily have to be trolley, but favorite event in Delaware.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that I have the privilege of going to in my role, in my job. But there 2 days after the general election, down in Georgetown, it's called Return Day. So it's essentially bringing together both sides, very much the Delaware way. They read the elections aloud, the local elections aloud, and then they physically buried the hatchet. Do you know the phrase "bury hatchet"?
Yeah.
So they physically bury the hatchet in sand, and it's like you're like settling all qualms. Like we're good. Like we're burying the hatchet. Whatever issues we had, if it was a volatile election, like we're just physically burying a hatchet in sand and like starting fresh, and we're acknowledging the results of the election, and we're moving forward.
That's awesome.
So it's very much a Delaware thing, and it happens every election year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, yeah, John, we really appreciate the time today. This is awesome. So, loaded question: what does the future hold for John Cohill?
Yeah, a whole lot of question marks. I think
President? Maybe.
no, but I really like Delaware, and there's been option to leave to go down and do similar things I'm doing now in DC. But again, the Delaware way and the way that we do things in Delaware is it's intriguing. Like we do things right. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and that ability to kind of network and know people, and you won't get that down in DC. So whatever I do, I hope that one, it's for the betterment of the community that I'm a part of, state, city, county, or at the federal level. But like doing things that I love and doing it to have an impact is kind of where I'm at. I do love the things that we're doing at the state level, and I think you have a lot of opportunity to kind of find an agency or a more niche opportunity within state government. So I may stay there, or I may jump. I don't know, but I think that's cool. I think it forces me to do something different, which is great.
Love that. Yeah, so last couple things, just wrapping up here. Once again, give you the flowers. Really appreciate the time coming on. You were definitely on the hit list for guests, so
appreciate it.
Appreciate
Made the cut.
That. Yeah, made the cut. Made the cut. A lot of people want to be sitting in that chair. So, if you guys are interested in coming on the pod, hit me up. We're happy to have you on. Be on the lookout. Gratitude Monday. Where can the people find you? John Cohill on Instagram?
Yeah,
Best spot to find
you.
Yeah,
Instagram. That's pretty much what I use.
Love it. Yeah. I was telling Mary Kate last night. She's like, are your DMs heavy? I was like, I DM just as much as I text. Like, it is insane.
Yeah.
It is insane. Yeah, so you can find him on John Cohill. Keep an eye on this guy. He's going to be doing big things. Already is doing big things. So we're super excited for you. Super excited for the future. Super excited for Delaware as a whole. So it's people like you that make the world go around, my man.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. I think what you're doing in Delaware and in Trolley and Wilmington areas, like I'm giving you your flowers right now. Like,
thank you.
You're doing it right. And to have like the mindset of I need to connect with all the different aspects of Delaware is really, really important, and you're doing it. Huge. And while you may be a realty group, like you are hitting that community check mark, which is really, really good. Really, really important.
Love it. Yeah. Housing's an essential need.
Yes, it is.
Love it. Yeah. So I'm Vince Garman. This is our esteemed guest, Mr. John Cohill. Thanks for tuning in. Another exciting episode of Life on the Ave. Love y'all.